You were laughing. We didn't say you should come and give laughter. Oh, yeah, no.
Welcome back.
So, it is possible for you, Aleredu, to be tongue-tied. All your boyfriends will hear of this.
I see the one will pass me. Please ignore him.
Okay. Before we bring you on our guest, we're talking about this giving thing. We've been asking the federal government to give. What are they going to give to their people and all of those things? Don't forget, this famous quote. Is it Jimmy Carter? Don't think what your country can do for you.
J.F. Kennedy.
J.F. Kennedy.
Yes.
Think what you
can do for your country.
In other words, don't think what people can give to you.
Think what you can give to people.
Over to you.
In these times of people hardly having enough for themselves, we're talking about giving. But the thing is that no matter which way we look at it, we are still better off than a lot of people. So we should still give glory to whom glory is due and thanks to whom it is due. I am preaching, but Mrs. Nikki, stop it.
Yes.
Dr. Nike Adeyemi is here, and she's of the Social Service and Faith-Based Initiatives, and she will be doing all the preaching this morning. Me, I'm just in the congregation. Good morning, Dr. Adeyemi.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us.
Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
So how am I supposed to be giving when I don't have enough now?
That's the big question, right? Thank you for having me and for all you do at Sunrise. You give a lot. You keep giving and giving.
So we give?
Yes.
My head is about to burst.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In times like this, that's what's on the lips of everyone, on everyone's mind. What do we do? How can I give? I don't have. We don't have. There isn't enough. It's like not just a scarcity mentality, but there's actually scarcity out there. And so the question is, how can I give when I don't have enough? First of all, we need to take our minds away first from money. First of all, money. Because when we think money, our brains shut down. There's not enough. Forex, even people who don't have anything to do with the dollar are also elevating their prices. Okay? Just because prices are rising. Why are you selling these oranges for
dollar?
Not dollar.
Because they also have expenses that have been elevated, the bus fares and all of that. So we've piled the overheads on ourselves. But when it comes to giving, I think every human being should still think of themselves as givers. Think of yourself as an asset. In terms of giving, think of what you can give. Think in terms of you can give a smile, you can give a helping hand, you can give encouragement. We can go, encouragement goes a long way to help people's mental health.
Dr. Adeyemi, my apologies for butting in.
I know we'll still come to the food thing.
No, it's not even the food. Even this one that you've just talked about, my own mental health is gone. You want me to give? Wait, just 1 second.
Okay.
See, the person you want to give a smile lost his smile yesterday because he lost a job. The person you want to give encouragement is grieving the loss of something very precious or someone very precious due to earlier on this morning we had a guest who was talking about meeting a friend and who said that he just lost someone because they couldn't get enough resources to buy the person's drugs.
Very painful.
So now these are realities and we have established that it didn't all just start today. It's something that's grew on us over time. So what perspectives need to change? You're talking about, us, mental health and all those things.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is it something that you have or something that you have within that you're going to give first? What exactly, should this be the bedrock?
Love is the bedrock. We've got to be our brother's keeper. We've got to do the little we can with what we have. You can't help everyone, but what you get to know of, you read in the papers, social media. Sometimes I see, pictures, this person needs blood or needs, kidney transplant, this is the account numbers. Look at it. Do what you can do. Don't be overwhelmed like, I can't do anything. Do the little you can do. Notice. For example, I have an orphanage. I mean, it's how many years? The Real One Foundation, right there in Magodo, and the orphanage. And at the time I started that, I just wanted to help girls on the streets who are prostitutes, I just wanted to help them.
But that means you had something.
I didn't have. This was, this was about 28 years ago. I didn't have much. Our ministry, we didn't have much. But I noticed and I was touched by, why will girls stand and sell themselves? I look back and I found that I was only about 29, 30 years old then. I look back and I realized that I was a youth and I didn't realize I was a youth. But it's leadership, is that thing that is in you. Whether it's God's calling, whether it's because I'm a firstborn child and I was very used to being a motherhead. I had a lot on my head. Just newly married, I think I had 2 children, maybe 1. The other was not even born yet, I'm not sure. Just in between that range. I look back and I said, what was I looking for? I didn't have, but it's the compassion. We have to have compassion for one another. Our leaders have to have compassion for us, government leaders, religious leaders, and we as human beings, children in schools, parents have to teach them to have compassion. That's where it starts from. You teach your child to share. Share your lunch, share your eraser. Let another person use it and return it. Don't steal, but share. That's where it starts. So you now grew up to be that human being who notices. Now you can't be overwhelmed if you don't have enough. So I can say, I saw someone in need. I feel we should help. I don't have enough. Do you have 200 naira? Do you have? Let's join. When people are loved, their hearts are less broken.
Doctor, since COVID,
yes,
this is something that we talked about a lot during COVID, because a lot of people were feeling down. They couldn't go out to work, so they could not earn, because a lot of Nigerians are kind of like daily paid or daily earning workers. They couldn't go out to make money. And we spoke a lot about give somebody a call.
You see, that's it.
Talk to someone. You never can tell whose life you'll be saving.
Yeah.
Give your time.
Yes.
From your experience, since COVID, has that improved? Did we continue that tradition of giving of our time to our fellow friends or,
Maybe, maybe not. It's not measurable. It's not acute. It's not in our face. But I think we're going back to that era now.
Because there's no more COVID.
Yeah, COVID left, so everybody now, okay, everybody's fine. But I think we're going back to the COVID era now. It's not COVID now, but it's a famine. We're in, especially in Nigeria, we're in a famine situation. And other parts of the world, Ukraine, Russia, because of the war, it impacted UK and other countries. They produce wheat and other grains. So in the UK, for example, their biscuits got more expensive. Why? Because of the war, because they couldn't get the grains from where they get it from. So when we think we're not even connected with someone at the far end of the world, we still are, right? But when we bring it back home to our own country, Nigeria, there's famine, there's scarcity, there isn't enough. We need to farm, we need to do all those things, but like you said, we need to give encouragement. Let's take it like a COVID situation. Let's take it, because COVID, we were afraid that people would die. Number one, catch the disease. Number two, because of the lockdowns, you can't go and work. And then we were afraid that people die more of hunger than even the disease. Nigeria was like malaria, where, I beg, which disease? Let's go and walk. We don't need these lockdowns. But now, I think we should take this like a COVID situation.
When you were talking, when you were talking earlier, you spoke about making it a culture.
Yes.
From when children are little, let them share their lunch, let them share their eraser. Yeah. I happen to know that in certain climes, they have a subject in school called volunteering. If that were introduced into the curriculum of schools here,
wonderful,
would it help?
Yes, ma'am. It will help. Abroad, it's a thing. When you take off time to volunteer, sometimes you're giving credit in school, or it forms a strong part of your CV, whether you're in elementary school, you're in secondary school, or in uni. Whether you are even a teenager, you're in uni, or whatever age group, even if in your church, for example, you help out, you're allowed to record that as volunteering. I usher people to their seats. You can record that as, because you've given some measure of your time to others and not yourself. It's such a huge thing in America and some other parts of the world. And let's take that up. I don't know how, but we've talked about it before somewhere in other places, that it should. So not only maths and English. I find it very
interesting that she's actually
volunteering.
Saying this. Yesterday I was at a conference in Ibadan, and that's why I could talk about Moe. And a student came out, a young lady came out and was asking these questions. And people who work in foreign universities in Nigeria at that conference were saying it is actually a thing.
Yeah.
So volunteering is not just something you do because you have time. You're actually enriching your CV by doing it. Interesting. Let me ask you this. There's something you said earlier about mental health. I've seen a few disturbing videos, and you may have as well, of people who commit suicide. I saw one of a fellow young man who was waiting for a vehicle and dived right,
Wow.
at the foot of the
rear tires.
Actually in the middle, in the front of the tire, just to be run over. We've seen people who jump, into rivers. We've seen people who, all kinds of things that we have seen. What can we give? What can anyone give to help such a person to not go that far?
Love, support, calling them, checking on them. Not everyone that looks okay is okay. Asking the questions, how are you? Fine. No, don't just tell me fine. Have you eaten today? Okay. How is school? Fine. No. What? Because I think mental health is what triggers it. I mean, some say it's clinical, it's maybe hereditary, but I believe it can be managed. So if someone has it, it's in there, whatever already. Why is it getting worse? Not feeling loved, feeling alone, feeling the gap between expectations and manifestations. Mindsets, temperaments. Some are such deep, I won't say deep thinkers, but analyze to the point of, some find things, some throw things off their backs easily. And I'm not saying this, not that I feel privileged or anything, but sometimes the way the brain works is different in one person differs from one to another. Some people would, sometimes if I feel down, and even if I don't feel like reading my Bible or whatever, yes, I'm a pastor and all that, but sometimes I could just say, you know what, I'm going for a walk. I'm getting some ice cream. I'm not supposed to take ice cream, actually, but I always feel like do something, but it's not that easy for everybody. Or call a friend. Some people, is that friendship is therapy for some people. That good friend you have. If she doesn't call you, call her or call him and say, hey, you know what? And when you start gisting, You feel better.
Your spirit lifts.
That's free therapy for some people. I have a friend like that. When we meet up, it's like free therapy. We talk, we gist, maybe even just over tea or coffee or a meal. But when people break down, you wonder maybe they have no one, or they're too shy to ask for help, to reach out. So people still have to reach out. And so we only have those who have that around us, and we know that child who's a bit, we know that relative or that friend who's a bit, we need to check on them. More, even people say check on your strong friends, which means that one that looks strong, you don't know what's going on inside.
You know, I've also heard this story that sometimes even the comedians are as vulnerable themselves who make us laugh. But there's this thing, you know, you mentioned calling and all of those things. Sometimes people fear stigma. That if I come and say it now, they'll come and be calling me this. They'll put a label on me and all of that. That is one of the reasons people hide stuff. You know, how do we navigate that one?
I would say that everyone should at least have one trusted person. We're not saying come on TV and say, hey, I'm depressed, I have this. Have one person you can confide in. And that brings us back to maybe parenting, or have that one person you can talk to. Father or mother, you know, any one child, sometimes a child is closer to the mother or the father. Just find that person you can talk to. It's not everyone, you know, that has that listening ear that would understand and get you. And then it starts from there. That's what I think.
You know, we've heard psychologists, clinical psychologists, you name it, come here and tell us that sometimes faith. In fact, I saw a video by some, you know, whites, Americans, I think, talking about how believing, you know, praying or something like that, you know, helps to stem, you know, some of these things, being a part of, you know, fellowships, small communities like that.
Yes.
How does that help?
I mean, if you're part
How does that work?
Being part of a community, you get encouragement. The word is shared. It doesn't have to be a large congregation. In fact, I think the small ones are better, where you have home fellowships, gatherings of 6, and stuff like that, because you can bring it down home. You can ask questions. In church, when the preacher is preaching, you don't raise your hand to ask a question. But when you're in that small fellowship that you're a part of, 6, 10 people, you can be more vulnerable. What is being shared should be more practical. You can ask questions. You can find someone who asked the question, and you connect, because you also are going through that, but you couldn't ask. That's why I love Q&A. I love Q&A. After my meetings, my conferences, I always say Q&A, because that's where someone asks a question and someone is thinking, I wanted to ask that, but I couldn't. But they get the answers, you know. It's more hands-on, it's more practical. You can connect with one person afterwards and say, hey, can you just pray with me? And, you know, so I think that helps. Faith helps if you will connect. Faith helps in the sense of reading the Word of God. If you can't even read the Word of God, listening to music, gospel artists. We're not coming here to promote them, but I think every little help we can get. You know, you're driving, you're listening to uplifting music, you know, songs that talk about how loved you are. I think it helps. And prayer too helps, because prayer is communication with God, and it's a two-way street. It's you talking to God and listening, being still also, meditating, being calm, centering yourself.
How do you achieve that? You know, there's that thing about loving yourself. People don't even identify how to love themselves. People don't know how to listen to themselves.
You have to love yourself. Even is it Confucius or so that said, know thyself, right? A philosopher. You have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself. And that way you can know how to love yourself.
Let me put some people on the spot.
Even the word says, love your neighbor
as yourself. So you love
That's what the Bible says. But we seem to skip over that because we feel it's
selfish.
Exactly. If you don't love yourself, then you don't think someone else deserves that love.
On that.
If I don't think I'm worthy of this pair of slippers, why would I think someone else is worthy of it to be able to give it out? So I think that's where it starts from.
Let me put some people on the spot who are at home right now. They work 9 to 5. But guess what? They leave home at 5 a.m. Get home around 10 p.m. And on Saturday morning, they are going for Owambe. On Sunday, they are going to church. On Friday, they went to mosque, and on and on and on like that. And every morning, they are doing so program and that. So they really don't have a quote-unquote life. They don't know how to rest. They don't know how to even give love to themselves. They have scarcity of time. They have scarcity of time.
They might tell you that's how they recharge. I don't know. We ask them. People
how
who are
do
like
they
that.
recharge with scarcity of time?
You've got to rest.
So some people can recharge without resting.
Well, no. They really should rest.
Okay.
I'm saying maybe that's the answer they would give. Like, you can't keep going. You've got to rest. You've got to give yourself some love. Then it's out of the overflow that you give to others. We've had to learn that. I had to learn that over time. It's not as if it's always been perfect in my life, but you get to a point where you realize that, hey, I'm
getting to the threshold.
On edge. I'm not, can't give from an empty cup.
Yeah.
We really have to give out of our overflow.
Well, since you are in faith-based, you studied faith-based initiatives.
That was all my original studies. I studied architecture.
Okay, well, but
to master's level.
You are also
but I
a
decided
pastor.
to go for humanity. Yeah.
So let us talk about faith-based institutions giving.
Yeah.
I saw a video. I don't know if it is Nigerian. I don't know if you saw that video of a pastor asking people to put 3K in an envelope.
7K first.
Oh, there is a 7K one.
Then 3K. When nobody came up with 7, then he said 3.
That they should put it in an envelope and run out. One time, I want to pray.
Nobody ran out.
Nobody.
And you bring it lower. You bring it down to 1K.
Well, even at 1K, nobody ran.
I think those practices should be done over with. If we still see things like that, maybe in the past, I'm not siding anybody. We could say ignorance and all that, but that shouldn't be happening now. I mean, that shouldn't be happening because you give what you have. Bible says God loves a cheerful giver, and you don't give out of pressure, out of compulsion. You don't give out of fear. You don't cause people. Yeah, but if you don't give now, you will not go to heaven.
The way some pastors say it is like if you don't, it's like you can buy your way to heaven.
Oh no!
One, in fact, if you don't give to a man of God like Skabasha,
then everybody also needs to understand. Go do your research and use your brains as well. That's why you should have a direct relationship with God, not go through an intermediary. Have a direct relationship with God. God is the father of your pastor, he's the Lord, and he's also yours as well.
Okay, where I'm going
so
to
there
that
shouldn't be
question.
abuse when it comes to giving.
Yeah,
that's just
where
what
I'm going
trying to
there
say.
is the institutions themselves identifying these personal, embarrassing needs, I dare say, of the worshippers in their faith-based institutions. They don't have food to eat. They don't have clothes to wear. They have hospital bills they can't pay. The children are at risk. So how do
we faith-based institutions, including churches, should have structure. For example, in our church, we have what you call the benevolence department unit. It's like a food bank where people collect food. If you're in need, collect food. Every Sunday we announce, and we're also going to, I've been talking about us going maybe daily in the end, but maybe introducing other days in the week, and maybe the ultimate will be daily. We say daily now, but for years and years and years, every Sunday, go queue up for food. And it's grains, rice, beans, all those things. And you don't even have to be a member of the church.
What if the
nobody asks for your membership? Join the queue and get
you
just
I think it's the same in every church.
Yes.
Every church that has a food bank.
Because nobody must go to bed. We always see this in Daystar Christian Center. No one must go to bed hungry. We've always said that for years and years and years. Even when the offering is being taken, we say, look, This offering is give out of love. It's being taken to meet needs in our midst. It's not, I like to say God is not hungry. And so we're giving to God, but we're not giving like, God, open your mouth, take bread.
He's not hungry.
He loves the act, but we're still recycling it to meet our own needs. So the lesser in our midst, don't go to bed hungry, you know.
Okay, we're out of time, but let me just ask this.
Okay,
when we say giving, it's not about money.
Only, yeah. Give time, give encouragement, give love.
You say churches should give and mosques should give. What if they themselves, the offering is getting thinner, just as you say?
Well,
which it must be.
Because
it
must be because
cost of living is rising, so they don't have enough to spare.
The leadership of the church, the pastors and the leadership of the church need to look at everything and say, what can we do differently? How do we cut off the, use the generator less? Or because, I mean, in Nigeria, organization won't use alternative power. Okay, we may not be able to run the gen from here to here. Where can we cut? To
just have to make sure that there's a budget.
Exactly. So it's to reassess the budget.
Okay.
If we feel that what we spend on programs is high, 4 programs in the year, we might have to shut it down to 2. And replace the budget for those programs with the budget for feeding. It's where the need is. It's like in every family, when you see this child is struggling, you get lesson teacher for a season, or you sit with that child, this month, you will understand it. But it won't be forever. It's for that season. You are zeroing in. When that child is stronger, it's okay.
So you are saying it is not to increase the number of offerings. Okay. Just saying.
Not necessarily, because it's like drinking water out of a rock. No, you can't harass people. Give more, give more. Some people will switch off and be like, you know what, I'm going to another church.
If you ask for more, where I used to give 1,000, I'll split that 1,000 into 5 places. So if you come 5 times, I'll give you 200. So it is the same 1,000.
That is if I don't reduce the 1,000.
Yes, and we should encourage people to give directly also. Notice needs among you and help one another. Because if we help one another, then the request to the church, the emails that I need will be less because they've been sorted. We're family, and the important thing is to notice and see what you can do. So if I see you in church when you come into car park, I say, why are you looking sad? And you're like, no, I'm eating, Joe. I've not eaten or whatever.
Ground no level.
Yeah, ground no level. Okay, I could give you a hug and say, it is well. Now, if I have something, I'll transfer to you. We all like the alerts. We all love alerts, no matter how small, don't we? Once you see it, the issue is
we love
something came in. Something came in, even if it's 100 naira. And you feel loved, and it's a credit. You feel loved, you don't know what came in, but something came in. And when it's an unlikely source, you're like shocked. You're first loved because something came in. Before you check out the amount, okay, not bad. Okay, 200, okay. That would buy me a banana or 2. You know, it's a way to...
Absolutely.
You know, so we can do better.
Dr. Nike Adeyemi.
Yes.
Social service and faith-based initiatives. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Teaching us this morning that giving is not all about money.
Yeah.
You have time. Give your time.
Give your time.
You have energy.
You have the gift of the gab.
Yeah.
You have words. Give those words to encourage somebody and keep them alive. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back with the home stretch.
To give you the home stretch. We are giving